Hi, welcome to MBA Easy. We are a CAT training institute based in Patna. In today's video, we are going to analyze CAT 2021. Now, CAT 2021 has happened on 28th November in three slots. We all know that. Those of you who have written CAT are very much aware about all these mundane details. So we're not getting into those things. No, we are going to analyze CAT 2021, not just in terms of percentile prediction or let's say, no, what were the types of questions, etc. We'll definitely discuss those. But more importantly, we are going to discuss what are some key takeaways for those of you who want to write CAT next year also or any CAT 2022 aspirant. What does CAT 2021 tell us in terms of preparation as far as CAT 2022 is concerned? Because that is what is more important, right? Something which has gone by. You can't undo that. Whatever your CAT performance has was is done and dusted. You can't change that, right? So what is in your hand right now is to prepare for the upcoming exams, and if you wish to prepare for CAT 2022, what does your CAT 2021 experience teaches you? That is what we'll be focusing on in this video after discussing some analysis of CAT 2021, of course, right? So let's get started, right? So we'll discuss some test pattern. As you would know, there were 24 questions in VARC, 20 questions in DILR, and 22 questions in QA in all the three slots. No, forenoon, afternoon, and then evening slot. In all these three slots, we had the exact same number of questions, obviously. Now I had written CAT also. I write CAT on a regular basis almost every year, just to keep myself updated so that I can guide students properly. Now, in my slot, which was a morning slot, 8:30 to 10:30 slot, in VARC, and this was the pattern all across. So in VARC, there were 4 RC passages, right, of 4 questions each. So you had 4 RC passages of 4 questions each. So that makes it 16 questions. And then you had verbal ability questions, remaining 8 questions, where 3 questions were from Parajumble, right? 3 questions were from Para Summary, and 2 questions were from odd one out, odd sentence out, right? So this was the pattern. So very much on the expected line, what you had expected in CAT. In RC also, the passages were not very lengthy. They were mostly readable, barring one passage on utopia, dystopia. There was one passage in my slot, which was slightly difficult read. But other than that, all remaining three passages were very easy to read. And the questions were also not very confusing. There were, of course, 2 3 double negatives questions where options will be very close to each other. Those things were definitely there, which is a characteristic of all CAT examination. So there's nothing new that you could see here. The pattern and the nature of questions were all almost similar to what it used to be in previous 2 3 years. So there is no surprise element as such in VARC section. I would say the VARC section was almost at the same level as it was in CAT 2020. If at all I have to be very critical and minutely analyze, I'll say that it will be maybe a half notch or a quarter notch less than what it was in previous year. That's all. But that will not make too much of a difference. The pattern is exactly same as it was last year. The level of difficulty is almost same as it was in last year. Now, DILR as expected was same as last year. Out of the 3 sections, DILR is the toughest one, is the toughest nut to crack. In DILR, you had 2 sets of 6 questions, and you had 2 sets of 4 questions, right? So that makes it 20 questions. 6 into 2 12, 4 into 2 8, 12 8 20. 20 questions were there, divided across 4 sets. Now, this is a departure from previous year's CAT. In previous year's CAT, there were 5 sets given to you. Here, you are only given 4 sets. So your options available to select a set is less. That makes question selection even more trickier, because you had 5 sets to choose from in the previous year's CAT. This year you had only 4 sets to choose from, which makes your selection decision making even more trickier, even more complex, more important, critical. Because if you select one wrong set, you are going to spoil your 10 minutes, 12 minutes in that, and then you are remaining with literally little more than half of the section time. So that will create too much pressure, and you have only 4 sets to choose from. So that makes decision making for selections of a set extremely important and critical, right? So this is one added challenge because the number of sets has reduced from 5 to 4. This is my experience, what I felt writing this exam. Okay, we are not going to discuss questions as such, but I could say I can only disclose at this time is that there was one DI set, pure DI set, which was based on bar graph in the morning slot, in the slot in which I appeared, and that was a very calculative set. It was doable if you put your head down, remain cool headed, and do it no sincerely. You could do in 10 to 12 minutes. So that was one set which can be classified as a very easy set, and I think no student should have missed out on that set. Other than that, there were two 6 question sets which were lengthier. They could have taken at least 15 minutes, in my opinion, 12 to 15 minutes to solve. And there was one 4 question set which was on a difficult side, I would say. So that should have been done only after the remaining 3 sets were done and dusted. So I would say in DILR, if you are attempting say 5 questions correctly, you are easily going to clear the sectional cutoff limit, which is about 85 percentile. So 85th percentile can be easily achieved by attempting 5 correct questions. Okay, so if you're getting 15 to 18 marks, 15, 16 marks, you are clearly going to cross the 85th percentile. So that this is my estimate, or rather guesstimate, right? Because nobody can be as accurate, because nobody has that kind of sample size. At least I don't have that sample size, so I cannot claim that my predictions are going to be absolutely spot on. That would be too much of a statement. So all I'm saying is that this is based on last so many years trend, and based on my experience, and based on my interaction with a handful of students at my test center. Okay, all right. Now in VARC, I would say no 13 attempt will give you a clearly give you about no. So if you're getting around 40 around, you're going to get a very decent percentile in VARC section. Quant section, you had 22 questions. In out of 22 questions, roughly about 10 questions were from arithmetic. So it is the arithmetic section which is the most important, or arithmetic as a topic, bunch of topic, which is most important. And this has been the trend for last 3-4 years, not just this year's CAT. So remember, for CAT 2022, a key learning is that don't overlook, don't underestimate the arithmetic bunch of chapter, because these are the ones which are going to be tested in plenty, right? So you need to be on top of your game, absolutely first class as far as arithmetic is concerned. Now in geometry, you had about 3 to 4 questions from geometry. Okay, so geometry was also there. Unexpected lines. Algebra, I would say about 3 to 4 questions, or 4 to 5 questions, maybe 5 questions were from algebra, where quadratic equation was there, log was there, inequality and modulus question was also there in my set, in my slot. So there were some algebra based questions, some progression question was there, series building question was there. So these were the types of questions. One question was from PNC in my set, in my slot. So this is broadly what I could collect. I can collect right now from my experience in my exam in the first slot. Sorry. So as you can see, arithmetic was the mothership, the elephant in the room, followed by geometry and algebra, which is basically the trend for last so many years, about 4 or 5 years. So this was all about the test pattern and the type of question as far as CAT 2021 is concerned. In QA also, I would say that if you are attempting, let's say 10 questions, then you are easily going to clear the sectional cutoff. 85th percentile will definitely be crossed by attempting 10 questions correctly. If you are attempting 12 to 13, you are going to get a very good CAT score. So if you are attempting, let's say, getting 35, 36 or maybe 40 marks, you're definitely going to get a very good handsome score in QA section also. So this is what the test pattern was as far as CAT 2021 is concerned. Okay. Now let us look at what most of you are very eager to know, and that is percentile prediction. At what score, my percentile is going to be what. That is something that everybody is interested in. But remember, this is only a curiosity which you have to probably control, because there are other exams also lined up. You need to prepare well for IIFT, ZAT, and then later on CMAT, etc. So don't get too much involved for weeks as far as this analysis is concerned, or this percentile, or looking at the at a what score, what will be my percentile. These all things are not very important, because you don't have control over it, first up. And then you'll eventually get to know this. The cat will release your result, and you'll get to know this. So don't get paranoid about these things. So just keep it, look at it for 1 or 2 days, and then that's it. Focus now on the upcoming exam, because that is more important, right? Anyway, let us look at the percentile prediction, which I feel is there based on my guesstimate, not estimate or any statistical analysis, but only a guesstimate. And this is based on a very small sample size, because I had an interaction with about those 100 students, or 50 students, 60 students, but out of two and more than 2 lakh students have written this exam. So a sample size of 40, 50, 60 is definitely minuscule. So this is not a very scientific, thorough statistical analysis. This is partly estimate, partly guesswork, partly punting, right? Okay, so this is what it looks like according to me. So for 90th percentile in VARC section, you should score about 10 questions right. So 13 attempt, 1 wrong, 14 attempt, 2 wrong, something like that, right? In DILR, 18 to 20 marks will give you 90th percentile, which means that if you are attempting 6 questions, 7 questions correctly, you are going to get 90th percentile. So if you have attempted one set fully, 4 questions set, and then other set you have partly answered, but all the answers are correct, then you are going to get 90th percentile. In QA, 7 to 8 questions correct attempt will give you about 90th percentile. Overall 90th percentile will be at 65 to 68 marks. Now, I have given a range considering the level of difficulty variations across slot. So this is not a slot specific. This is the range. If you get a number in this range, probably this is my estimate that this will be your corresponding percentile. One thing that you can notice here is that VARC 30, DILR 18 makes 48. 48 plus 22 gives you 70. But here I have written only 65. This is because if you add all these marks, you will surpass. If you get 90 percentile in VARC, in DILR, and in QA, your overall percentile will not be 90, it will definitely be 94, 95, right? So remember that individual sectional cutoff is this. Overall cutoff will be not sum of all the sections, but less than that. So VARC में 30 आया, DILR में 18 आया, QA में 22 आया, तो सभी में 90 परसेंटाइल आएगा तीनों सेक्शन में, बट ओवरऑल परसेंटाइल फिर 90 नहीं रहेगा, वो 90 से ज्यादा हो जाएगा. सो दैट इज वेरी ऑब्वियस from the table here, right? So for overall 90 percentile, you need to score somewhere between 65 and 68, right? Similarly, for 90th, 95th percentile from where you will start getting call from IIMs. 95th percentile आ गया तो IIM से कॉल आना शुरू हो जाएगा, एटलीस्ट द बेबी IIMs or newer IIMs. So for that you need to get about 34 to 35 marks in VARC, which makes about 12 questions correct, 11 to 12 questions correct. DILR about 8 to 9 questions correct, 24-25 marks, and in maths about 9 to 10 questions correct, which is about 27 to 20 marks, 29 marks. ओवरऑल 70 to 72 मार्क्स आएगा तो आपको 95th परसेंटाइल आने के चांसेस हैं, ठीक है. Similarly, next step, 99th percentile at which you will start getting call from very serious IIMs also. So top 6 IIMs. I'm not saying that the other IIMs are not serious colleges, they are also damn good colleges, but the conventional top 6, top 7 IIMs. So if you want to secure call from there, you needed to score 44 to 46 marks in VARC, which makes about I say 15, 16 questions correct. In DILR about 10 to 11 questions correct. In maths about again 10, not 10 but 13 to 14 questions correct. Overall 97 to 100 marks will give you 99th percentile. But if you want to be absolutely sure about studying in top 4 type, top 5 IIMs, which in which case you'll have to score at least 99.5 percentile, for which you needed to score 53 to 55 marks, that is 18 to 19 questions correct in VARC, 12 to 13 questions correct in DILR, and about 16 to 17 correct in QA. So overall score of 180, 120, round about 120 will give you 99.5 percentile. So this is my estimate based on interaction with so many students and also based on my own experience over last decade or so of mentoring students for CAT. But remember, take it in, understand it, but be aware that this is only a guesswork, partly some experience, but this is not a statistical analysis. This is just a exercise in conjecture. I'm assuming something. I've interacted with only few people, so I don't know about these. The sample size. I'm aware that the sample size is small here, but this is more or less my own estimate, my own guesstimate that this is what the scores will fetch you corresponding percentile. Okay, all right. Let's move on. Key takeaways. This is more important, right? What are our key takeaways for CAT 22 aspirants? CAT 2021 has taught us something, has given us some key takeaways, some key learnings. So we'll go and look at those key learnings and accordingly prepare ourselves for the next year's CAT. We can chalk out our preparation plan, based on these learnings, based on these key takeaways from CAT 2021. All right, so the first is, as far as VARC is concerned, develop a good reading habit. This goes without any saying. No matter how much I emphasize on this point, this can never be overemphasized. This can never be overstated. No, you will have to develop. Those of you who are preparing for CAT 2022, you still are 1 year away from CAT. You have a lot of time. Develop a good reading habit. Always be habituated to reading newspaper editorials on a daily basis. You can pick up any newspaper, maybe Indian Express or any other business news, any other newspaper, and start reading it on a daily basis, because that building habit will also take some time, right? But you should also read on a digital platform, because CAT is going to be an online exam, so you need to develop reading habit on a digital space also. So there you can go for aon.co, because that is a very good one. Aon.co is there. You can go to New York Times, right? You can go to New Yorker. New Yorker is again pretty good one. But remember, these will have some firewall, so paywall. So after you read 3-4 articles, they will ask you to pay. So I will not say that you necessarily pay for it. No, there will be some free articles that will be available to you. You read that. Aon.co is a perfectly free place, and you can read some really good lengthy article from this website. So Washington Post is there, Guardian is there. So these are some of the the wire.in is there, Indian website from where you can read. And the wire.in, this is again a very they also give you some good articles. You can find some good articles here also, the wire.in. Okay, so these are some of these spaces, some of the platforms from where you can read good articles and develop a good reading habit. Read novels, read books, but get into the habit of reading. That is very important, because that is the only mantra for cracking VARC section. There is nothing else. Your reading habit will improve. You will understand how authors construct their paragraph. You'll become good at VA. There is absolutely nothing which is required at this stage when CAT is still 1 year away. Develop a good reading habit. Forget about questions, RC, parajumble. All these things will come later on. But right now, for 1 or 2 month, develop a good reading habit. That is what that will pay you massively in CAT 2022. Okay, so next is as far as DILR is concerned, practice variety. There is no fixed template that CAT follows as far as DILR section is concerned, and therefore this section has become very challenging. So the only way to get confidence in DILR section is to practice variety of question and practice not just one or conventional type of question or one type of question, but variety of question. So the best starting point is to look at previous 3-4 years CAT paper. CAT has been releasing paper. You'll get on various online platforms. You'll get those DILR set. Practice those, right? Practice the conventional type of DILR sets also. For example, seating arrangement, distribution, grid puzzle, Venn diagram. Practice those also, understand it, and then try to practice as many different types of DILR sets as you can get, right? So the mantra here is only one thing: practice, practice, and practice. Practice will make you really equipped and confident for CAT 2022 DILR section, because this is the most challenging section out of the three sections, the least scoring among the three section, and it is least scoring only because the questions are challenging, the questions are new, there is a lot of novelty factor also. Sorry. So you need to practice variety. Only if you practice variety will you become confident here. Okay. So the next is, don't prepare with any preconceived notion. Very important idea. You don't go into the CAT thinking that 50% of the question will come from arithmetic, 20% of the question will come from geometry. If you don't go with that kind of idea, go with an open mind, prepare with an open mind. You still have a lot of time for next year's CAT, almost a year. You know, in 1 year you can complete the entire syllabus and revise it also multiple times. CAT is, the syllabus is not humongous, the syllabus is very manageable, and therefore don't start your preparation with some preconceived notion. Have some idea about CAT exam this year, about the syllabus, etc. But remember, CAT is known for throwing surprises, so don't be anchored or hooked to a particular syllabus and say that this is how I am going to prepare, because arithmetic is going to be asked in plenty. I'll skip numbers, I'll skip coordinate geometry because those questions were not asked. You never know, those questions can again reappear in CAT in good numbers. So at this point of time, you should prepare with an open mind, prepare for those chapters which have been coming on a regular basis really deeply, and but don't overlook these chapters which at present seems insignificant. They may become significant in future, you never know. CAT is very infamous for throwing surprises, right? So don't go with some preconceived notion as far as preparation is concerned. In QA, focus on covering important topics deeply. Important topics means questions from where more no the topics from where more questions are asked in previous 2-3 years CAT, but don't be hooked to it, right? So which are the important ones? Geometry, arithmetic, and algebra. Arithmetic, geometry, and algebra. These three you focus very deeply. Stay on top of your game as far as these three are concerned, but don't overlook the others ones. Don't ignore it, because they may become important in next year's CAT. You never know, because CAT is known for giving you surprises in exam. And build speed and accuracy. This is also very important. No, and this can happen only by practice. Okay, so this is what our key takeaways is. Don't go with preconceived notion. Very important. Develop a good reading habit. Practice variety in DILR. In QA, focus first on important topics and then cover the lesser important topics. But don't ignore it, because they may become important in next year CATs. You never know, right? But now that CAT 2021 has happened, and you have other exams also lined up, so don't be too much indulged in analysis, because too much of analysis leads to paralysis also, students. So get over it, and then start preparing for other exams which are lined up. IIFT is there, ZAT is there, CMAT is there, and several other MBA entrance exams are there. So whichever exams you have applied for, focus on that. Forget about CAT right now. I know it is difficult, it is easier said than done, but you have to do it. There is no other way also. And later on we'll discuss about GDPI preparation, which is the next stage of CAT. So we'll discuss about that also in some other video. But right now, focus on the upcoming exam. Don't be under the hangover of CAT for so long, right? With that, thank you guys. Cheers. Thank you for watching, and best wishes for your upcoming exams also.